We're so excited for our strategic partnership with the American Marketing Association. CMI and AMA have partnered together with a certified course that is our Content Marketing University to become a certified content marketing leader.
I'm super excited about it for what it means for the growth of our profession, for what it means for creating the proper framework for our content marketers to grow and excel. Having certification, having a body of knowledge, having both best and emerging practices, it's really what helps to define a profession.
We couldn't be more excited to be partnering with such a wonderful organization because they're providing the true standard of excellence when it comes to certification in marketing.
And having the opportunity to take the depth of research, knowledge, and practical skill that comes from the Content Marketing Institute content, combined with the proven approaches, the robust community and leadership that comes from the AMA, I think it's a perfect combination.
If you're a marketing practitioner and you want to upskill your way into becoming a certified content marketing leader, well, then Content Marketing University is for you.
Hello. Happy Monday, everyone. It's Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. Thank you for joining me for this week's Ask the CM World Community Livestream, where each time we dive into a new topic with an awesome member of our CM World community. And if you didn't know, this live stream is brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute. We are the leading training and education organization for all things content marketing. You can head over to contentmarketinginstitute.com. And we have all kinds of resources and educational content. In fact, we just released our third annual video and visual storytelling survey, which is what we will be talking about today. Some really eye-opening insights in this. We'll dig into those and give some advice on how you can actually get some results from your video content, because that seems to be a big issue here for content marketers. So we are excited to dive into that today. All right, and I want to mention some exciting news here at CMI. We are partnering with the American Marketing Association to offer marketers a brand new content marketing certification opportunity. So it's part of an extended version of our 2024 Content Marketing University online curriculum is taught by the one and only Robert Rose. You do 15 hours of learning that prepare you for the AMA Content Marketing exam. And then once you pass that exam, you can earn your professional certified marketer credentials. So you can head on over to cmi.media/certification to learn more. So a great program over there. So if you want to be a certified content marketer, I highly suggest that you sign up. All right, here, let me get rid of that video there. All right, so now that the housekeeping is out of the way, as you join us today, please give me a virtual wave. Say hello. Let us know where you are joining us from. Lisa's joining us from Cleveland. Hello, Lisa. If you have any questions or comments, as always, please drop them in the comment section below. It always makes for a more engaging live stream when we hear from all of you. So let's get the ball rolling today by asking our question of the day. So are you creating videos, and how are those videos performing for you? What challenges do you face when it comes to the video content creation process? Is it time? Is it resources? Is it the equipment? Is it the strategy? So we want to hear from you and hear what kind of challenges you face. Or maybe you're doing really awesome. So let us know that too. We'd love to hear how your video is performing. Drop some links in the comments. We'd love to check it out if you're doing well. We're always looking for great examples of people doing it well. All right, I see others jumping in here. Jeff from Cleveland, Stephanie from DC, Pamela from Dublin, Kim from California, and someone else from Berlin. So thank you all for joining us. All right, so chances are you are probably hearing across your organization calls for more video content. But our new video and visual storytelling research shows that while content marketers are planning to create more videos, they're kind of wrestling with some big challenges like getting results from that video, finding time to create videos, and figuring out the role of AI in content creation for video. So hopefully we're going to give you some tips on tackling these challenges today. And joining me today to chat about this, let's pop up here, Amy Balliett, a senior fellow at Material. And we have Theo Thompson, a video strategist and owner of Nourish Social. So thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
We have people from all over joining us. Theo's in the UK himself, so we have others across the pond as well. So thank you all for being here. All right, let's get started. We were having a great conversation before we even went on live here about all this stuff. So 67% of marketers say video has become more important, not surprising, in the last year, but this is the one. This is crazy to me. Only 7% of marketers say their organization uses existing videos to their full potential. What do marketers think they need to get better results? You may have guessed it. They need a video strategy. No surprise there. So let's get started here. Amy, when you are advising clients, what are some of the first steps you're telling them when you're trying to help them develop this video strategy? What are some of the most important things to consider?
Yeah, there's a lot of key things to consider with video strategy. One of the biggest things is, what is your visual language for your brand? There's kind of two ways you can approach video. You can approach it with live action and add a lot of authentic brand language that way, or you can approach it through animation. And depending on your target audience, you want to choose one of those, because if you're going after an audience of millennials or younger, you're probably going to want to stick with an animation if you're talking about something that's 90 seconds or less. So step one is identifying who is your target audience and what visual language speaks to your brand and speaks to that audience. After that, you really have to understand what compelling stories will really bring your audience in. Modern audiences love short form content. And so how do you tell your story in under 90 seconds? Most audiences won't click play on a video that looks like it's more than 90 seconds in length. So you really have to consider what that story is. And often the best strategy is a story that makes your audience the hero of that story. So it's really about creating that compelling connection point with them. And sometimes when you do that with one great video, then you can look at, how do I repurpose this video into a lot of shortcuts as well, so that you can put out 10-second versions all around social media. It's really about getting the most bang for your buck. And the best way to do that, again, is identify that target audience and how to best speak to them. And then the only other thing I would say is, what is that core message that you want them to walk away with? Because your storyline has to really center around that core message. And a lot of people just do video for video's sake, and they don't really consider that messaging strategy in the process.
And Thea, I know we were talking before, you say when you start meeting with clients and they think they have a strategy, but they don't really have a strategy once you get down to it. So what are you advising them?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with all those points, and it's something that I see over here in the UK as well. But also when we meet with clients, we just like to start with the end in mind. So we ask them, what do they want to achieve out of this? What is it they're looking to do? Like, what do they want somebody to do after they've watched their content? What do you want them to feel? How do you want to come across? What's your brand tone of voice? All those types of things. And a lot of the time, when we go into businesses, like we just mentioned, when we go into businesses, people think that they know, but they don't actually know when you ask them for the document. So when you ask for a document that you can work off and say, look, this is your brand and this is what we've got to stick to, they don't necessarily have it narrowed down. They kind of know roundabout, but they don't know exactly. So when it comes to producing stories that really resonate with their audience, they don't know how to put that across in the right tone of voice that sits well with their brand. A lot of the time, they think branding is all about your logos, colors, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to video, tone of voice is so important, and it's something that often gets left out. But hopefully, a lot more people are waking up to the reality of, you need to have it on point.
Yes, document. We say that all the time. You have to have a documented strategy if you want to be successful. So just having it up here or a little bit of notes here and there is not going to help you. So we are here with Amy and Theo talking about getting the most out of your video. We've been asking, what are your video content challenges here? And some of you have shared. Alan has said, balancing scrappiness with high quality production and budgeting accordingly. And we have Pamela who says, my challenge is to focus on one line topic. Not sure what she means by that, but yeah. All right. So when we went to our research here, we found the top challenges facing marketers when it comes to video is the time to produce videos. The time, 69%, that was the number one challenge. 56% said generating video content consistently. And number 3, producing enough video content. All big challenges there. So Theo, what's your advice on tackling some of these challenges? If they say they don't have time, if they say they can't produce enough and consistently, what are you telling them?
So typically, it's the same thing that we often hear from a lot of people. They know that they need to be doing it, but time is a struggle. Also, coming up with the creative is a struggle. So what we typically do, we advise bulk creation. So we would say to them, okay, we after we've kind of lined out the strategy and we know who we're talking to, we know the psychographics, not just the demographics, but the psychographics, meaning like the beliefs, the opinions that these people have. That is more important than anything, especially on social media right now. Demographics is obviously important, but psychographics is more important than ever. So we kind of look at the psychographics, break that down, and then we look at, all right, and how can we create stories that we can bulk create, say in one day. We turn up to a location and we work with them and we show them, right, this is how you create your content. Now, sometimes we offer a done with you or a done for you service, but what we're seeing a lot more with TikTok, because you can use your mobile phone, we're actually creating the concepts for them. And then we're saying, right, this is the format and this is the structure. You need a hook, you need the main body of content, and then you need the call to action or something else to leave them with to spark engagement or something like that. We typically look at, how are we going to make this easy for them to do in-house? Because that's the reality. A lot of people, they want to do their marketing in-house, but they put it off and they don't end up doing it just because it gets a bit too complicated and they try to overproduce, or they try to do things a little bit, top spec, because they think top spec represents their brand the best. Where in today's day and age, it's more about being authentic and being you and being raw. That often works a lot better. And people expect that now because of the age of TikTok and short attention spans and things like that. So, that's really important. So I definitely say bulk creation is one. And then I'd also say don't overproduce. That is the other one as well.
Amy, do you have anything else to add there?
Yeah, definitely. I think that to echo something that Theo said, when you start with the end in mind, then you have a much better opportunity to use your budget wisely. So, if you're focused on social media, it is exactly about bulk production. I think that's super smart. If you're focused on conversion rate optimization for your website, you might approach it in a different way. As an example, a good high quality explainer video on your homepage can actually increase your conversion rates by an average of 80%. So what you can do there is do the math and kind of decide, what would an 80% conversion rate improvement do for my brand? How much extra money can we bring in with this? That will help you determine what type of budget you want to spend. And if you're thinking about starting with the end in mind, if you plan to have a video that first acts as an explainer video, but is also created and written in a way that it can be broken down into multiple 30-second clips or multiple 10-second clips, that's where you can start to get more bang for your buck. And I think that too often people think that they need, specifically if it's website optimization, I think they need a whole lot of videos on their website. And I would say you need a whole lot of video content on social media, like Theo is saying. And so you really have to consider the two arenas you're going to be putting your video content and plan accordingly to see how you can create something a bit universal that you can create bite-sized chunks of to get more money out of what you're doing, to get more ROI.
More bang for your buck. If you're going to do that beautiful explainer video, how can you also repurpose that? And then, like you said, we're creating all these videos, whether for social or a website, and then sometimes we just kind of put them out there. What about the promotion and the distribution of the content? How do we make sure that it's getting seen by the right people or the people that we want to see it? What about that, Amy?
So I think Theo's going to have a lot more to say on this since he really lives in social media. But I will say what I've learned over the time is having the right thumbnail for your video makes a significant difference as to whether or not somebody is going to press play. But in a lot of social content now, it's, as you scroll onto a video, it starts playing. So you also have to really consider what's the first 5 seconds of the video. That first 5 seconds is what has to really hook somebody. And when you think about just the psychology of the average consumer, our attention spans are only 5 seconds long. And what that means is it takes 5 seconds to get somebody to decide if they want to put more attention on whatever your content is. So that first 5 seconds really matters. And it's not just what you're saying to your audience in that first 5 seconds, it's what you're showing your audience. 94% of first impressions of your brand or service will be based on the visual quality of the content that somebody's looking at. So if the visuals are just text on screen, that's too much work for somebody. They're not going to want to take the time to read your video. They want to watch something. They want to watch something unfold. So it's really about what is that scene that's going to really hook somebody in that first 5 seconds. I think that's where you really have to focus a lot of attention. And I'm sure Theo has a lot of other great ideas beyond that because you're living in that world of putting a lot of content on social media.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The thumbnail point, Amy. That's so important. I mean, in the days of YouTube, everybody used to focus on thumbnail and that was the focus. But now more than ever, that's kind of diverted to every other platform now. And especially things like TikTok, Instagram Reels, things like that. But I would 100% agree with that. And I'd also add, we have to think about the format that we use. Most of these platforms that grow, especially if you look at influencers and things like that, and any channel that becomes known for creating a certain type of topic or certain type of content, they stick to one format or two formats. They don't try and do a video about this in this style and a video about that in that style. They stick to a couple of formats and they're just consistent with those formats. A lot of the time people see things and it's like that shiny new piece of content that looks good. Let's try that. Can we try this? And they send you a video and say, can we do this next time? We'll be like, no, it's not part of the strategy. It doesn't serve the purpose. We have to stay on track kind of thing. And you just have to trust the process. But I'd definitely say on other platforms, thumbnail, the equivalent of a thumbnail on TikTok is a visual thumbnail, but you've also got the literal thumbnail on the hook, the first 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds. You can have a visual hook, something that grabs their attention when they're scrolling. It makes them think, what's that? And it sparks curiosity, makes them feel a bit, nosy. They want to know what's going on. You want to get people feeling nosy when they're watching your content because that's what makes them stick around to watch the rest of your content. So if you can spark curiosity and say something like, you never guess what I did the other day, straight away it's hooked the attention. It's like, really, what did he do? Everyone wants to kind of know, do you know what I mean? So as soon as you start to suck people in like that, you can use that to your advantage around your topic, but then you have to deliver. You can't just, make a really good hook and then the content is weak, because people won't follow you or subscribe or want to see any more of your content, or they'll probably see your face again and just scroll down because they're thinking disappointment. Do you know what I mean? So all this is attached to your brand and how you're coming across. So you want to make sure that you deliver in every way possible. Now, something else I'd like to add, because this also happens quite a bit. Someone will come to us and ask for a video. Sometimes it's a one-off video or a campaign type of video or something like that. And we'll give them the video and we'll say, we can create a campaign video for you, but what is your current audience? The majority of the time, their audience isn't that engaged. They might have a lot of followers, but they're not engaged. So we often suggest running paid adverts And I always suggest at least one a month a minimum. If it's better if you can do more, but at least minimum one a month. And when you're running these paid adverts, they will go out there, and that's what you call awareness content. People that have never heard of you will see this content first, and then if they like it, they will go to your community and see what other content have they got floating around. Now that's where your consistency and your strategy is, because that's the content you want them to see. That's what they're going to be scrolling at and making a decision. Should I follow that person or should I just scroll on? Like, so it's kind of like, you gotta think someone standing on the road saying, this is who I am. And then once they come into the shop, you best have enough stuff in your shop to show them actually it's worth sticking around or visiting again. So that's what I would say on the distribution side. Don't neglect reaching a new audience, and also be very self-aware of what people realistically think of your content.
That's great. I love that. Yeah, I think more promoting and paying for promotion is definitely something that's more important than it's ever been before. Organic reach is going down a lot. So I'm talking to Amy and Theo here about video. If you have any video content challenges, we'd love to hear it. Drop it in the comments. Or if you have any questions for these two, please let us know. And I was going to say about thumbnails, like Mr. Beast. If you know Mr. Beast, he's like royalty when it comes to figuring out, like, the time that he spends on doing those thumbnails, and then going back. Which fascinates me is going back and he changes them. So like if a video, he might have done it one way, months or years ago, then they go back and change the thumbnail to like try to get even more views. So that to me is like fascinating. And we've been talking about social video, Theo. So 54% of marketers say social video delivers some of the best results. So, and you kind of, touched on this about the, different frameworks or whatever. So, what's your best advice for like the framework for video on TikTok versus LinkedIn versus YouTube? They're going to be a little different.
Yeah. So the format is similar in some ways, as in every piece of content has to have a strong hook. A hook is important for every piece of content. Now, the way that you do that and you achieve that on different platforms, it needs to be native to that platform. So the way that you would create it for, say, TikTok, it would be a little bit faster. The frames that you have. So as I'm talking here, if I'm doing a talking headshot, every time I say a couple of words, I'm going to change the angle that I hold the camera. For example, that is just one example, because people like to see the frame changes in order to hold the attention. If you're talking about YouTube, the psychology on YouTube or even LinkedIn is totally different, because most of the time when people are viewing that, they're thinking a bit longer form content. They're thinking a bit more like, in depth. They want a bit of meat on their content. They're not necessarily bothered about the frame changes and things like that. They're more interested in the actual value that you're giving in your content. So that is a major thing. Now, the algorithm, because you want the algorithm to work with you, not against you. The algorithm is a key thing to take on board, because the TikTok algorithm and the way that distributes your content to other people is based on your watch time, which is similar to others, but it works slightly differently. And they look at watch time, how many people are viewing, and when did they start to stagger off viewing your content. Now, if we look at LinkedIn, the framework for LinkedIn, they like comments. They love comments. Like if you can get comments on a LinkedIn post early as well, within the first 12 to 24 hours, it will push your content and it will drip feed it to the rest of your network, along with other people that are outside of your network. Now, TikTok's kind of like a wild beast, because as soon as you get like a couple of views, they don't even need to necessarily like comment or anything like that. It could just be likes. As soon as you get a couple of likes, that's it. It's taking off for you. They will just keep on drip feeding it. And that's why controversy kind of like sells on TikTok, because anytime you do something simple like leaving something on in the background, or letting your model wear dirty socks so people can say in the comments, oh, have you seen how dirty her socks are? Things like that. You can do that on purpose. There's a different psychology in the way that you do videos, because it kind of helps you. You leave mistakes in sometimes just to agitate people to kind of comment on the comment section, and it works for your benefit. And then in the end, you can say, actually, guys, this was planned. I hope you like that one. And then you can go on to the next topic, and then people actually spot. They start to have this game where they say to each other, all right, and what have they planned this time? What can we spot? Like, that's the games that you want to create. It's kind of insider games. Fans fans create those types of crazy games all the time. But yeah, I think that's useful.
Great. Those are all great tips there, Theo. Some I haven't even heard of. So let me get to this topic here before we wrap up, because somebody was already asking about it. Potential for using AI in video is growing, but only 18% right now use AI to assist with video creation. However, 1 in 3 marketers who don't use it now plan to use it in the next year, and they're using it to like create video scripts, video editing, generating videos from existing scripts and texts. So Amy, what tools are you using, or are you seeing clients use or try to use?
So when it comes to video and AI, the first thing that's worth noting is most AI video platforms out there are template driven. What that means is you're going to jump into the tool and answer a bunch of questions. And then from your answers, a template's going to be pulled together. That includes the script you typed in, as well as some stock imagery animating in the background and text animating on screen. The issue with this approach is audiences don't like stock imagery. Audiences want authentic, original content. And so a template-driven piece of AI video content is probably going to hinder your brand more than help your brand. It could be something that you could be using for internal comms, or something you might use for a quick email communication or something like that. But it's not going to get you a lot of love on social media. It's not going to get you a lot of love on your website to increase conversion rates or anything like that. The tools out there that exist, there are 2 gold standards right now, in my opinion, in the world of AI-driven video content. Lumen 5 is what everybody jumps in and uses. Designs.ai is another one. And I would say Designs.ai is pretty similar to Lumen 5, if not almost exactly the same. So if you want to do strictly video content, Lumen 5 is what you could do. But if you want to do some other visual content, Designs.ai is really good. But really, when it comes to creating really beautiful content with AI, static content is what's working right now. And you're going to do that with DALL-E or Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. Midjourney is my preference. But Adobe's starting to see what works and starting to add a lot of AI to their own tool set. So Adobe Firefly is starting to say, here are all the things that are popular. I'm going to now make these available to everybody. And as Adobe sees these things that are really popular, they're starting to put it into their normal Creative Cloud suite. But we're not really seeing a lot of good AI tools pop up yet within the Creative Cloud, for video within the Creative Cloud, for Premiere and for After Effects. Those will come. And if you really love using the Creative Cloud, I say just wait for Adobe to pick up the best tools and perfect them even more. We're still not where I want us to be with AI and animation. But ask me again in 6 months, because AI is moving so ridiculously fast that things could change. There are a lot of tools where it's just not working as good as it could just yet. When you put in an image, type in a prompt for animation, the animation just isn't exactly right. It kind of morphs things right now.
What about you, Theo? Are there any tools that you're seeing or you're suggesting that might be good?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as what Amy said, really. There's nothing that's really up to par that doesn't come across as stock imagery. Everything just comes across as like, it's not organic, it's not real. It's you can kind of tell like straight away. It's not just creatives, it's the consumers as well of this content that can actually read it. But personally, I'm only really using AI in the aspect of research for the concepts, for the stories and things like that. A tip that I would recommend for everybody, that everybody could easily do, is using simple thing. The godfather of AI right now is ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT is the well-known one, and it's really useful, but it's only as useful as the information as you feed it. So a lot of people forget that with ChatGPT and platforms like that, they get smarter the more information that you give them. So if you start to feed information on you know, the psychographics and demographics of the audience that you want to reach. Start giving them more information, start a conversation, start giving them more info on what they believe in, what they like, their dislikes, all that type of stuff. Then ask them to create, say, a short 30-second TikTok video based on the information above, which is the correct prompt. Then they start to give you lists. They will literally give you, if you said create 10 videos, it will create the videos, the shot list for those videos, and then also everything that you will need to create for those videos if you put the tools in. And then obviously you don't use it as it is because it still isn't perfect, but you can kind of add your own touch and flair to it. I always edit it and change things around, but it's a good base level to start with, especially if you're lacking in time to create these types of concepts or the creativity.
Yeah, I would say, and I'll drop it in the comment section, but we talked, I had a live stream about some good different AI tools, and I think one of them was Go Charlie, which is a good video AI tool. But again, I agree with you guys, going back to the stock imagery. And I know as a consumer that when I see that, I'm like, like you see the beautiful video of the family, like in the living, you know, like whatever it is, I guess it's a little more meaningless to me. So definitely think about creating your own video as well. So, well, thank you both so much we're out of time for joining us today. Some really, really great information that you both shared. And if you need more education and training on video or visual storytelling, we actually hosted a free visual storytelling event last week. And the good news is you can still register to see the on-demand access. Each session, they gave some new ideas and inspiration for your video and visual content strategies. So take a look at the agenda. It's free. Just register there and you have access to it all. There is the link right there. So, all right. Thank you both. I so appreciate it. For all of you who are joining us from the US, happy Thanksgiving. It's a holiday week here. Until next time, I will see you. So see you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.